And we're back. Welcome back to the quarter-final predictions for the Asian Cup and the African Cup of Nations. We have got all of the remaining fixtures to talk about for you today. But before we get into that, I have to have a brief chat about yesterday because, for a change, it went relatively as I predicted. Jordan were too good for Tajikistan. Nigeria got the go-ahead goal against Angola, and from that point onwards, the game was over. Congo were able to finally get the win yesterday. I did sort of jokingly go along the lines about that game being a draw. I did say that I expected Congo to win, but it would be funny if it was another draw. But the one game that didn't go as I sort of predicted was Australia against Korea. I said Korea would win. I said it could potentially go to extra time, but I did expect Korea to be the top side in that match. But we have to sit here this morning and say, how did Australia not win? I mean, I counted 3 open goals that they missed, and that's not including the chances where the goalkeeper should have had no chance, but the Australian players either put it wide or put it over. I cannot believe Australia weren't 2 or 3 goals at least ahead before they gave away that penalty, which Hwang Hee-chan took brilliantly. But that is now 4 out of 5 games in the Asian Cup where South Korea have scored a goal beyond the 90th minute to change the result of the match. Absolutely incredible resilience from them, and an awful lot of luck, it has to be said, especially yesterday. But yet again, they got through the last 16 due to a 99th minute equaliser and then penalties, and then last night a 96th minute equaliser and then winning it in extra time. But fair play to them. They've got through. Australia are out, but my word, how much luck have Korea got left in them? We will find out in the semi-finals in a few days' time. But we've got, like I say, 4 more matches to talk about today. Before we get into it, as always, please do consider dropping a like on this video if you have enjoyed this prediction series, and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. Of course, we will be doing the semi-final and then final predictions for these 2 tournaments coming up next week. Let's get straight into those final 4 games in the quarterfinals taking place today. And as always, we will start off in Qatar with the Asian Cup, and we're starting off with Iran taking on Japan. Now, again, if you look at the form guide for this match, it would suggest that Iran would be the team to beat in this fixture. However, I look at the matches that Iran have played, and they've not really been adequately tested yet. And the results that they've got, albeit all wins, have not been anywhere near as convincing as you would expect for a side as good as Iran against the opposition that they were playing against. Japan, on the other hand, have been slowly building momentum over the course of this tournament. Poor performances have turned into good performances, have turned into good wins over the course of the last week or so. So as things stand right now, I think this is actually Japan's game to lose. And I think they're going to be the side with a little bit too much quality that Iran haven't really come up against yet. So with that said, I am going to go for a 2-1 win to Japan. Japan have been conceding goals. Iran have been scoring goals. But I just got to look at that performance against Syria and say, if you're not putting Syria away and you're relying on penalties, realistically, you're not going to beat Japan. Next up, it is Qatar taking on Uzbekistan, and obviously the host nation with an opportunity to reach the semi-finals and continue their dream of going back-to-back in the Asian Cup. Both sides, the key to both of these sides so far in this tournament has been defence. Both of these sides have not conceded more than 1 goal a game. Qatar have only conceded 1 goal all tournament. I believe Uzbekistan have only conceded 3 in 4 matches. So, really, really tough to call this. Neither side have been at their absolute best offensively, but they've both been very, very good defensively. I was almost very tempted to go for a 0-0 in this one. However, I cannot see this one being 0-0. I do think there are going to be goals in this game, but I don't think there's going to be many. It's just going to be a classic case of, I think whichever side goes ahead is then going to try and sit back and hold on to a 1-0 win. But I think whichever side does that is going to end up conceding the other way. So I am actually going to go for a 1-1 draw in normal time. And then in extra time, I think with the crowd support behind them, I think it's going to be Qatar that end up getting through either by extra time or penalties. If this game has to be settled in 90 minutes, again, I would favour Qatar. But right now, I just think both these sides are so tight. There is just absolutely nothing in it between these two going into today's game. But that will do it for Qatar. Let's now move over to the Ivory Coast, and we'll go from one host nation to the other, because it is Ivory Coast in action today against Mali. Ivory Coast with that incredible win against Senegal, albeit basically entirely via penalties, as we all know, because Ivory Coast's equaliser in the last minute of the game was itself a penalty. That goal was Ivory Coast's first goal of the entire tournament. They made it through the group without scoring a single goal. Then they got one penalty at the end of their game against Senegal. They have not been at it at all in this tournament. I said it would be classic football for Ivory Coast to beat Senegal. I think it would be even more of an upset if they were to beat Mali today. And that sounds like a staggering statement to make. But if you actually look at that Mali team, the players that they've got, and even the players on the bench, Mali don't play Yves Bissouma. You think about how influential Bissouma has been for Tottenham this season. And the fact that he is on the bench for Mali tells you how strong this Mali squad is. Almost every single one of their starting lineup plays for top half European clubs. Every single one of them. They are an incredibly good squad and an incredibly good team. That sounds a bit daft, but I mean, the players individually are good, but then the team as a collective are also very good. And when you put them against the Ivory Coast side, I think they're better than them. So I'm going to go for 2-0 to Mali, because I think they deserve to beat the Ivory Coast, because they are just better than them. But we'll see. Again, home support might just be enough to carry Ivory Coast over the line. But for me, I think Mali take this one. And then finally, it's Cape Verde, or Cape Verde, taking on South Africa in a game where, quite frankly, I'd like both sides to win this game. I think this is going to be an incredible football match. Cape Verde have been the stars of this African Cup of Nations so far. They've played some phenomenal football. Very entertaining to watch. South Africa have also produced some incredible results, none more so than that incredible win against Morocco in the last 16. And it's one of those situations where I'd love both sides to go through, because I think both sides deserve to make it into the semi-finals. The good news is one of them will be making it to the semi-finals, and I think whichever side makes it through this will probably be the side I'll be rooting for to go all the way. But sadly, one of them has to go, and based on what I've seen of this tournament, I think that side is going to be Cape Verde, but I honestly don't really know. I think it's just going to be a very entertaining game, non-stop action and drama throughout. I'm going to go for 3-2 to Cape Verde, because that would be the most entertaining watch. I mean, if it was 4-3 or 5-4, it'd probably be even more entertaining, but that's the sort of scoreline I can see happening today. Both sides are going to go for it. It's going to be an incredible watch, and in the end, I just think Cape Verde are going to edge it. But you guys, let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. We're in for another enthralling day of Asian Cup and African Cup of Nations action. I'll be back, of course, with my video for the semi-finals coming up later on in the week. Thank you very much for watching. As always, I will see you there.